There's a type of person who looks friendly, but secretly hopes you'll fail. They smile in your face while quietly sabotaging your confidence, twisting the truth, and draining your energy one interaction at a time. The scariest part? They could be your coworker, your friend, even your partner, and if you don't recognize the warning signs early on, they'll infect your peace of mind and slowly take control of your emotional world without you even realizing it. In this video, you're going to learn the 7 subtle but powerful signs that someone in your life might be toxic or even malicious, and more importantly, how to respond with the wisdom and clarity of a Stoic so they never pull you into their chaos. Stay until the end, because the final sign is the most dangerous and the easiest to miss. Welcome to the Stoic Lighthouse, where ancient philosophy becomes a guide for modern clarity. Let the Stoic Lighthouse guide you toward peace and wisdom. And if you believe that self-awareness is your greatest defense, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps us keep creating powerful content that empowers your mind, one video at a time. Now tell me, have you ever felt like someone close to you wasn't who they claimed to be? Drop your story in the comments. We read every one. Let's begin. Sign number 1. They manipulate the truth. Some people don't lie with words. They lie with fragments. They tell you just enough to control the narrative, just enough to seem innocent, while hiding what really matters. And the worst part? They'll make you feel like you're the crazy one for questioning them. You might notice it in the workplace, a coworker who forgets to mention their own mistake while throwing yours under the spotlight. Or maybe it's at home, a partner who leaves out key details to shift the blame, or a family member who tells different versions of the same story depending on who's listening. The Stoics taught us that truth is not just a virtue, it's a discipline. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone can show me that what I think or do is wrong, I will gladly change, for I seek the truth which never harmed anyone." It is the person who continues in self-deception who is harmed. But here's the catch. Malicious people don't want truth. They want advantage. They twist facts to stay in control. They distort reality to preserve power. And when they're caught, they double down or play the victim. The Stoics would say, these people are slaves, not to others, but to their own vices. As Epictetus put it, no man is free who is not master of himself. So how does a Stoic respond to manipulation? First, verify before you react. Don't rush to judgment based on someone's words alone. Second, confront gently but directly. Ask, is that really how it happened? Watch their reaction. People who lie often stumble when pressed with calm precision. Third, detach emotionally. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. If someone lies about you, don't panic, don't spiral. Stick to your values, not their version of reality. And remember, truth doesn't need to shout. It doesn't panic or rush to defend itself. Truth stands still because it has nothing to hide. Malicious people manipulate because they fear the consequences of honesty. Stoics, on the other hand, face reality head-on because they know that living in truth is the foundation of inner peace. In the words of Seneca, he who fears the truth has something to hide. So don't fear what's real. Fear being deceived into doubting your own clarity. Sign number 2. They take advantage of your kindness. Have you ever met someone who only shows up when they need something, but vanishes the moment you need help? The kind of person who uses guilt as a leash, tugging on your empathy, making you feel selfish for setting boundaries, or even worse, for simply saying no. This isn't kindness, it's exploitation. And sadly, emotional manipulators often target the most generous people, because they know we hesitate to walk away, even when we're being drained. In real life, they show up in many forms. The friend who always calls when they're in trouble, but is too busy when you're the one struggling. The coworker who offloads their responsibilities onto you with a smile. The partner who wraps manipulation in sweet words like, "If you really loved me, you'd do this." Stoic philosophy teaches that kindness without discernment is not a virtue, it's a weakness waiting to be exploited. Seneca wrote, "Kindness must be exercised with judgment. Not everyone is worthy of your help, for some will use your generosity as a weapon against you." That's a hard truth, because we're taught to be giving, to be helpful. But the Stoics remind us, virtue is not about pleasing others. It's about aligning with reason and justice, even if that means saying no when it's uncomfortable. Musonius Rufus, the teacher of Epictetus, believed that self-control is at the heart of true virtue. And sometimes the most virtuous thing you can do is protect your time, energy, and peace from those who refuse to respect it. So how does a Stoic deal with emotional manipulators? Set firm boundaries, not with anger, but with clarity. If someone constantly asks for favors, ask yourself, would they do the same for me? Practice saying no without guilt. Remember, you're not being cruel, you're being conscious. And evaluate each relationship with reason. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the things you think about determine the quality of your mind. If someone consistently disrupts your peace, question whether they deserve access to your world. A Stoic doesn't close their heart to others, but they don't leave the gates unguarded either. Compassion is powerful, but without self-respect, it becomes servitude. Don't confuse self-sacrifice with strength. Strength is knowing who deserves your kindness and who only wants to consume it. As modern author Ryan Holiday puts it, boundaries are not selfish, they're the framework of self-respect. So give, help, support those in true need, but never forget, you are not an emotional ATM for people who only show up to withdraw. Sign number 3. They create chaos and division. There's a certain kind of person who thrives on conflict. They don't seek peace, they seek drama. They stir the pot, whisper in corners, and light emotional fires just to watch others burn. But they'll never admit it. Instead, they'll call it honesty. Or worse, claim they're just telling you what others are saying. You've seen it before. The coworker who gossips behind everyone's back, but plays innocent when things blow up. The cousin who brings up past family fights at Thanksgiving just to provoke a reaction. The friend who constantly pits people against each other, then steps back and watches the fallout. These people crave chaos because it gives them control. If everyone's on edge, if no one trusts each other, they become the puppet master of emotional instability. But the Stoics taught us something different. A person is as troubled as the things that trouble them, wrote Epictetus. In other words, people who manufacture problems on the outside are usually fighting even bigger wars inside. But that doesn't mean you have to join them. So how does a Stoic handle agents of chaos? First, refuse to participate in gossip. If someone comes to you with drama, calmly ask, "Why are you telling me this?" That one question alone can shatter their game, because people who manipulate hate being exposed. Second, don't mirror their energy. If they're loud, be still. If they provoke, be unshaken. Remember what Marcus Aurelius said, "You always own the option of having no opinion." Silence is often the most powerful reply to people who thrive on noise. Third, be the voice of clarity in confusion. Don't escalate, de-escalate. When chaos enters the room, bring reason. Be the calm in the storm, not the wind that fuels it. And here's something deeper. Malicious people often need conflict to define their identity. Peace threatens them, because without it, they have no power. That's why calm is your greatest weapon. It disarms manipulators, it frustrates gossips, it renders drama ineffective. As Donald Robertson, a modern Stoic and cognitive therapist, puts it, the more mindful you become, the less controllable you are. So don't just seek peace, be peace. Don't just avoid gossip, rise above it. Because in a world of emotional turbulence, the Stoic doesn't just walk a different path, he becomes the path. Sign number 4, they never take responsibility. There's something deeply dangerous about a person who's never wrong. No matter what happens, it's always someone else's fault. They dodge accountability like it's poison, and if you try to hold them responsible, they get defensive, angry, or worse, they flip the blame back on you. You've seen this behavior. A boss who blames the entire team for their own poor leadership. A friend who ghosts you, then claims you weren't supportive enough. A partner who lashes out, then says, "You made me act like this." These people aren't just avoiding guilt. They're building a false reality where they're always the victim and you're always the problem. Over time, that gaslighting can crush your confidence and fracture your perception of truth. The Stoics had no tolerance for this kind of self-deception. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The wise man blames no one, not even himself." At first, that may sound strange, but what he meant was this: a truly wise person doesn't waste time with blame. He takes full responsibility for his actions and focuses on how to move forward. Meanwhile, malicious people cling to blame because admitting fault would mean losing control, and to them, control is everything. How does a Stoic respond when faced with someone who refuses to own their actions? Start by protecting your mind from their distortion. If someone blames you for something you didn't do, don't internalize it. As Epictetus said, remember, it's not the person who insults you that harms you, but your belief that you are harmed. Observe their patterns. People who never apologize always have something to hide, and when needed, confront them, not with emotion, but with facts. Don't argue, don't try to win, just state what happened with calm certainty. That clarity alone is more powerful than any outburst. The Stoics believed that character is revealed through ownership. Seneca wrote, "It is the sign of a great soul to take blame, even when others might share it." Contrast that with the small soul who shifts blame, dodges truth, and uses shame as a shield. And here's a powerful truth: the person who never takes responsibility will always try to take your peace. Don't let them. You are not a scapegoat for someone else's lack of growth. So take the high road, own your actions, stand firm in truth. And remember, when someone shows you that responsibility terrifies them, it's because integrity exposes what they're hiding. Sign number 5. They're driven by envy and resentment. Some people don't want what you have. They just don't want you to have it. You could share a personal win, a new job, a happy relationship, a dream come true. And instead of excitement, they give you a tight-lipped smile, a backhanded compliment, or worse, total silence. But the truth shows up in subtle ways. The way their tone shifts, the way they dismiss your efforts, the way they suddenly disappear when life is good for you. Examples. They're everywhere. A friend who rolls their eyes when you talk about your goals. A coworker who undermines your success by calling it luck. A relative who always changes the subject when the spotlight's not on them. Or that person who only checks in when things go wrong, and never when they go right. These aren't just awkward reactions, they're symptoms of something deeper: resentment, a soul that measures its worth by tearing others down. The Stoics knew envy to be a form of self-inflicted misery. Seneca said, "The envious man is his own tormentor." Why? Because envy consumes from the inside. It doesn't just hate success, it suffers because of it. The Stoic mindset flips this entirely. Instead of competing with others, you compete only with your former self. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Let that sink in. Your goal is not to be envied, but to be excellent, whether others cheer or stay silent." So how do you handle people poisoned by envy? Don't shrink your light to make others comfortable. As Epictetus taught, if someone speaks ill of you, live in a way that no one will believe it. Don't argue with their resentment. You won't win. Their fight isn't with you, it's with their own reflection, and most importantly, guard your peace. Be mindful of who you share your wins with. Some people will celebrate you, others will silently hope you fall. Your success will always trigger the insecurities of those who refuse to grow. That's not your burden, that's their battle. And if you've ever been tempted to envy someone else, pause. Ask what you're really lacking. Because envy is often just a signal that you've neglected your own growth. As Ryan Holiday says, don't wish for what others have. Wish to be the kind of person who doesn't need to. The Stoic doesn't resent others. They respect the journey. They use the success of others not as a threat, but as a mirror. What can I learn? Where can I improve? Who am I becoming? Because the person driven by envy stays stuck in comparison. The Stoic, they stay focused on becoming. Sign number 6. They take pleasure in your failure. There's a moment more revealing than success. It's the moment you fall and someone secretly smiles. They don't clap, they don't mock you out loud, but you can feel it. A shift in their energy, a strange lightness in their voice, a glimmer in their eyes when things go wrong for you. Maybe it's a friend who only checks in when your plans collapse, never when they succeed. Maybe it's a coworker who seems too quick to help when your project fails, but goes silent when it shines. Maybe it's a partner who's more affectionate when you're low and more distant when you're growing. Here's what's really happening. They feel better when you feel worse, because your strength reminds them of their stagnation. Your growth threatens their illusion of control, and your resilience, your light, makes their shadow feel unbearable. The Stoics had a word for this kind of person: weak. Not because they lack ability, but because they lack character. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If someone constantly hopes for the downfall of others, their soul becomes darkened by that desire. So how does a Stoic deal with someone who silently celebrates their failure? First, don't confront them with anger. That's what they want, to pull you into their emotional chaos. Instead, take distance, observe. Their patterns will reveal more than their words. Second, use your success as your shield. Keep growing, keep rising, keep showing, without boasting, that nothing they do can dim your light. As Epictetus reminds us, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. And third, choose your circle wisely. Surround yourself with people who are inspired by your wins, not threatened by them. People who root for your comeback, not celebrate your collapse. People who see your strength and say, "Let's grow together," not, "I hope you fall alone." Because here's the Stoic truth. Someone else's joy in your failure is a reflection of their suffering, not your worth. Seneca said it plainly: "He who rejoices in another's misfortune is a man who has forgotten how to live." So don't stoop to their level. Don't retaliate. Don't explain yourself to small minds with loud opinions. Just keep living well. And remember this: your progress will disturb those who've made peace with mediocrity. Your victories will expose those who never tried. And your peace will terrify those who only know how to live in chaos. So stand tall, fail boldly, rise again, because your rise is the nightmare of those who bet on your downfall. Sign number 7. They're emotionally unstable and unpredictable. One day they treat you like their best friend. The next, you're walking on eggshells, wondering what you did wrong. This kind of person keeps you guessing, not because you're inconsistent, but because they are. They use affection as a tool, silence as punishment, rage as control. You've seen this behavior: a partner who loves you fiercely, then turns cold without warning. A boss who praises you one moment and humiliates you the next. A friend who explodes over small things, then acts like nothing happened. Or a family member who manipulates with guilt, tears, and tantrums, never accountability. Emotional instability isn't just exhausting, it's a power play. If they can keep you in a constant state of confusion, they can make you dependent on their approval. And soon, you're no longer trying to grow, you're just trying not to trigger them. But the Stoics warned us, if your peace depends on someone else's mood, you're not in control of your life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A calm mind is the fortress of strength. A person who has mastered themselves is no longer at the mercy of others." So how does a Stoic protect their peace from emotional volatility? Start by recognizing the pattern. This isn't about you. It's about their inability to regulate themselves. As Donald Robertson explains, a Stoic doesn't suppress emotions. They regulate them through reason. Set clear emotional boundaries. If someone constantly swings between extremes, let them know, I'm open to conversation, not chaos. And most importantly, don't take responsibility for their imbalance. As Epictetus reminds us, we are disturbed not by events, but by the views we take of them. Their instability is not your fault. Don't absorb it. Emotional manipulators don't need resolution, they need confusion. Because clarity gives you freedom, and they fear your freedom more than they fear being alone. Here's the Stoic truth. You don't have to match their chaos. You don't have to chase their approval. You don't have to decode their silence, their moods, or their explosions. All you have to do is choose peace over performance. Let them ride the storm. You build the lighthouse, because in the words of Massimo Pigliucci, a wise person knows when to engage and when to walk away. Sometimes the most Stoic thing you can do is leave. You've now seen the 7 signs, clear as day. Signs that someone in your life may not just be toxic, but fundamentally harmful to your mental and emotional well-being. Let's recap what you've learned. They manipulate the truth to serve their ego. They prey on your kindness and twist it into weakness. They fuel drama and division to stay in control. They dodge responsibility and make you feel guilty for their actions. They operate from envy and resentment, never joy or collaboration. They secretly smile when you stumble, but disappear when you rise. And they shift emotionally like a storm, keeping you anxious, off balance, and unsure. But here's the most important takeaway. You can't control how these people act. But as a Stoic, you can absolutely control how you respond. You can say no without guilt. You can walk away without drama. You can set boundaries without explanation. And you can reclaim your peace without apology. Seneca reminds us, you must live for yourself, not for the applause of others. So don't let the chaos of others shape your sense of calm. Don't let their darkness dim your light. And never let someone's instability dictate your peace. Now I want to hear from you. Have you encountered people like this? How did you deal with them? Drop your story in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else spot these signs and walk away stronger. If this video brought you clarity, give it a like, share it with someone who needs it, and don't forget to subscribe. There's more Stoic wisdom coming that can help you master yourself and navigate this world with unshakable purpose. This is the Stoic Lighthouse. Let it guide you toward peace and wisdom. Until next time, stay grounded, stay focused, stay free.